Want entertainment designed just for you? Then check out customizable streaming TV from Xfinity. It makes your life simple, easy, awesome.
Xfinity gives you customizable streaming TV options. Enjoy the most free shows anywhere on any device, and even access your streaming apps right on your TV with X1. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today to learn more. Restrictions apply.
Blog Talk Radio.
Let's go. It's time to attack. We the smartest, fastest, and most vicious. We gonna put them in their place. You coming out here? We're gonna play. And he's gonna fire deep. Puts there inside the 10. Throws to Superman. Good route by Edelman. Now they come on a reverse to the near side and a quick run.
What's up, NFL fans, and welcome to another edition of Cover 2 with McMillan and Purdue, the show where we talk nothing but NFL football. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Devin McMillan, but I'm here with my partner in crime, the newly minted Mr. Purdue, because he has a Mrs. now. Congratulations to my partner, Fred Purdue. What's up, Fred?
What's going on, man? Yeah, it's good to be a part of the new club, man. It feels like now I see what it's like to get a Super Bowl title.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And like I told you, when we did our college football show, man, just remember the traditional motto passed down from generation to generation. Very easy to remember. Happy wife, happy life. That's all you got to remember.
Sir.
4 words, and everything will be all right. The woman is always right. Learn how to say yes, dear. And I was about to say no, dear, but you don't say no, dear. You just say yes, dear. All right, let's talk some football, man. We got some unfortunate news in football. We're gonna get into our quick slants segment of the show real quick. We're gonna go through some quick topics, but like I said, some unfortunate news coming out of New York. Jets running back Bilal Powell could have career-ending neck surgery. He suffered a very bad neck injury, and it's a little different than the one Enunwa suffered last year. In the fact that, like you said, Coach Bowles said it's possible that this could be career-threatening. Like, what did you think when you heard this, man? This is the part of the game that you don't like, that you don't want to see. This is somebody's livelihood. This is what they love to do. And to maybe have to go out not on his own terms, like, I hate to see that, man.
Man, it's one of those situations where, first prayers go out to him big time. I've had a chance I grew up watching this kid in high school, man, and it was crazy to think, he's finally getting the chance to really be an entrenched starter. He was always a rotational guy, a special teams guy, but now he finally got a chance to make his mark, and now at the drop of a hat, it could be all taken away from him. I hope all things are negative and he can go on and finish his career and make plays, because that's what every kid wants to do. They want to make it to the NFL, and they want to make plays. They want to be great. So I hope everything works out for him. And even if it isn't, he's got a good head on his shoulders. So hope everything works out.
Right, and it's really unfortunate. But of course, he's been placed on IR. This season, he rushed 80 times for 343 yards. Caught 10 passes for 110 yards and a touchdown. So shout out to him. Bilal Powell will be praying for you. Hopefully this won't be the last time we see you on the field. But like Fred said, if it is, we're still praying and hoping that your quality of life is good enough to go on and do other things that's on your bucket list. So shout out to him. Patrick Peterson has been in the news all week. He went to the Cardinals brass with a trade request. Now, after a meeting with Cardinals executive, he seems to be changing his tune a little bit. There's a lot of teams out there getting excited. chomping at the bit at the possibility of maybe, being able to land who many still argue is the best cornerback in the NFL. What are your thoughts on this situation? And, I'll talk about the meeting and what he said afterwards in a second, but I know you can see how the teams were salivating, lining up to try to make an offer for this guy. Is he still
definitely
one of the best, if not the best?
Still one of the best, still up there with Xavier Rhodes, him, Sherman, some other guys that are kind of up, Jimmy Smith. But he's the game changer because he can do so many things. He can play press, he can play man, he can play zone, off man. He can do so many different things, and he's been asked to do things a little bit differently. He doesn't follow the number one guy now in Steve Wilks' system now. He's running a little bit more of what the Carolina Panthers are doing in that secondary. And
then he can drop back and return punts.
Yeah, he can return kicks and punts for you. And he's not your typical normal-sized corner. I mean, when you say normal-sized corner, what do we say? He's 5'9" to 5'11", 200 pounds maybe. No, sir. He looks like a receiver. He's 6'2", 6'3", 210 pounds, and he's a rocked-up dude. And he's also a good character guy, and that's one of the things you always want to look for in a player. Maybe right now might be a little too good of character. Quite honestly, as a player, you want to hold your team's foot to the fire to make sure they're keeping guys around you and always looking to compete. Right now, the Cardinals look like they're in complete rebuild mode, and there's no end in sight to that. So I can understand how he could end up wanting to be on another team. A few of those reported teams were my Patriots or Eagles, the Saints, which is I could understand the Saints and him being even though he's a Florida guy, he played college ball at LSU, and a lot of times guys wherever they play college, they tend to call it home a little bit. So I can understand that too. And he has an offense that he's not necessarily having to be super dependent upon a defense to win games. He wants to be on a team that can score points, and he can get interceptions because quarterbacks are just having to throw 60 times a game. So I actually hope I would love to see him play for another team and actually, a good one.
Have a chance to win.
Yeah,
right.
Don't sit in the Siberia or the Raiders, that is.
With all these teams being a little excited at the prospect, he put out a statement this morning that's making you think, okay, maybe he was just, his frustration got to him. I'll read the statement real quick. He said, "I've been incredibly frustrated with how the season has gone, but my energy is 100% focused on being part of the solution and helping us turn this around. I've never shied away from a challenge before, and I'm not starting now. I've always given my all to the Cardinals organization, my teammates and fans. That is what I intend to do for the years to come. I'm an Arizona Cardinal, and my focus is on this week's game." And when he was asked about it, before practice, he and the coach, he kept saying this situation is behind us. I was speaking out of frustration. So I don't know what this meeting entailed, Fred, but whether he means it or not, he's taken a whole new approach to the questioning around his trade request. Now, I don't know if they said sit tight, if we keep it civilized and not do this publicly, we could work on this deal and try to get you in a good place. Just sit tight, say the right things. Or if they did something, extraordinary that really got him to want to stay and be a part of this organization for the years to come. Like maybe the promise of very huge guaranteed dollars after this particular contract is up. I don't know what it was, but his tune totally changed. Like, what would be your guess? What's your speculation on, why his tune changed like damn near 180 since a few days ago when he was, begging to be shipped out of town?
I think maybe there's some dollars and cents, and we all know that's usually why, dollars tend to make sense. But I don't think he wants to be there. Seeing it, right. I mean, some guys, the new age athlete doesn't want to be in a bad place for the money. I mean, unless you're, LeBron, never mind. But the new age athlete wants to be, and doesn't necessarily want, they value winning. And he has 2 years left on his contract, not including this year. And he's one of the highest paid corners in the league, and he's being compensated like one of the best, but the team isn't winning, and he's not in he's in his latter 20s, so he's still in the prime of his career, but we know the prime of your career in the NFL is 25 to 27, 28. There's a small window.
Right.
So I think for him, it's going to be one of those things where he's going to have to either suck it up and deal with it, or and his cap number is about $11 million this year, as well as next year. So he's going to be, if this team is serious about winning, they have to go get the offensive help. The defense is not the problem. Although this team has been deteriorating for the last, 3-4 years or so. It's like they're getting worse and worse. But he's also one of the quieter guys in the league. You've never seen. This is kind of out of character for him.
No doubt. All right, so somebody who's definitely on the move, and there will be no get-backs, no go-backs, or no talk-backs. Amari Cooper has been traded from the Raiders to the Dallas Cowboys for a first-round pick. Now, I know, Fred, when you heard this, if you're a GM and I come to you about if we come to the table and we're talking about Amari Cooper, say I'm the Raiders, like what are you offering me for Amari Cooper as in the current time?
Throwing my GM hat on, knowing Amari Cooper is not a number one receiver. He hasn't been one since his first 2 years in the league. I'm offering maybe, if I'm the Patriots GM, I'm giving you a fourth, and I'm not taking nothing more than that. I'm not giving you more than that. But if I'm Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, I'm really considering maybe a second, maybe a second and a fourth, second and a fifth, maybe a swap of a player, a second and a player. But I'm not giving you a first-round pick. Amari Cooper doesn't play like a first-round pick. He is not a and that's the thing. The Dallas Cowboys let other teams drive up the price because reportedly the Eagles offered a second for him. And personally, in my opinion, I think that's a little too high. And I used to be very big on Amari Cooper, but over the past season, he just turned into another player, it seems. Like you said, his first 2 years in the league, 72 receptions for 1,070, and about how many touches did he have that season? About 6 touchdowns. Second season, 83 receptions for 1,153 and 5 touchdowns. Last season, he still had 7 touchdowns, which was a career high, but in 14 games and only 12 starts, he had 48 receptions for 680 yards, and he caught a severe case of the dropsy. So maybe it's not time to give up on this guy as a star wide receiver, and maybe, just maybe, he can do enough in Dallas to, salvage his reputation and maybe justify this number one pick that they kind of panicked and gave up for him. But I still think that the asking price was way too steep. But hey, your boy John Gruden, for all the flack that he's taking for some of the moves that he's making, man, if you're going to make the decision that you're just going to go into rebuild mode, which they have seemed to have made early in the season, then you're not off to a bad start, because as it stands, they have 3 first-round picks. Their own, and then they have Chicago's because of the Mack trade, and now Dallas's because of this Amari Cooper trade. The only thing about the Mack trade at this point is that the Bears, we don't know if they're going to sustain this, but the Bears are playing pretty well. So we don't really know where that pick is going to fall. We probably thought we knew where it was going to land when it was first made, but the Bears so far out of the gate is surprising people. Now, Dallas is in their situation is a little bit different because, you have these analytics nerds out here, and they said even after the Amari Cooper trade was made that it was
it increased Dallas's chances of making the playoffs by 0%. So if they indeed don't capitalize on having a new toy on offense and they're not able to win too many more games, then this pick could be a pretty good one for the Raiders. But what impact do you see Amari Cooper having on the Dallas Cowboys offense? Because in my opinion, it wasn't just that they needed a receiver. Like, Dak Prescott is not playing too well so far this season. He's had his moments, of course, but he's also had moments of inaccuracy, kind of erratic play, and he's just not a stat monster as far as yardage is concerned. So what kind of impact do you think he can have, adding him to the receiving corps of this team?
Okay, so let's kind of rewind a little bit. Just kind of this is a big question. So right now, I just throwing my, I'm the draft guy too. So right now for both of those picks, it sounds great to have that Bears pick like you said, but that pick is given in about 15. So you're not you're in draft purgatory there. So if let's say the draft happened today and everything's set in stone, New England wins the Super Bowl, and we were moving on. Just make sure I drop that in there.
Like how you snuck that in there.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, right. So the Bears are 15, and the Cowboys would be like 10, 12. It's not that much of a difference between these teams. So when I look at how everything is falling, and actually, I'm sorry, the Bears would be roughly like 22-ish, and the Cowboys would be like 15-ish. They're like middle of the pack picks. So it's not like these picks are going to be great for you anyway. So you're not getting the value, especially knowing where Amari Cooper was drafted early in his career. For me, if you're a smart GM, you trade those picks. You keep one, maybe trade it. But when I also look at it, I say to myself, if I'm giving up a first-round pick, is there any receiver in this upcoming draft that is comparable to Amari Cooper production-wise, and is it worth it? Because we know how receivers are in this league. Receivers are, it's one of the hardest positions in the league to replace, and it's also one of the hardest positions to transition into. So if you're confident enough that whoever this receiver is, whether it's DK Metcalf, whether it would have been Amon Richards, but his career is over, whether it would have been A.J. Brown, the DK Metcalf teammate, whoever this receiver is, they better be as good as Amari Cooper or better, because your defense isn't the problem, it's your offense. And you need a quarterback, and as far as Dallas is concerned, you need a quarterback, you need wide receivers, you could use an offensive lineman, you can use somebody on the defensive line or on the back end of your defense. So I hope that pick could have been used anywhere along in that order, and this draft is the draft for a lot of those positions. Not quarterback, but offensive, defensive line. Those positions can help you. As far as an impact to this, Amari Cooper is going to be able to help Dak Prescott because he's more of a possession receiver. He's a better version of what you already have in like an Allen Hurns. He's not a deep down the field speed guy, but he's that short to intermediate pass catcher that can be. He just has a problem with the drop speed, and his drop speeds aren't just regular TO drops. I'm going over the middle, safety's coming at my face, and I'm going to drop this ball or I'm going to get killed, and I'll have CTE the rest of my career. No. His drops are 5-yard hitch, 3-yard slant, 5 to 7 yard curl. I'm wide open. No one's touching me, and I just drop the football because those are concentration drops, and it's a continued thing. So in the beginning, I remember it was a thing of one Chris Carter actually said it might have something to do with his eyes, but he had LASIK surgery, so there's no excuse there. There's no excuse there. So at this point, it's all on him. And I don't know if he's not working with working well all season, who he's not working with, because these players, they work with guys all year, all season. So maybe it's his work ethic. Maybe it's just he's just not good enough, and he's just a number 2, and he had 2 good years before teams caught on. But whatever it is, he's the guy now in Dallas, and there's no choice in the matter. Because, by the way, Des Bryant just broke his phone because he's not coming back to Dallas.
Right. So, yeah, over the past 3 seasons, Cooper, he's had a drop rate of 13.6%, which ranks 4th worst in the NFL, behind names like Torrey Smith, J.J. Nelson, and his own teammate, Seth Roberts. So
guys that are already guys that are known for dropping passes. They're speed guys, but that's what speed guys are known for, dropping passes.
Right. But this guy came into the league first round, highly touted. This is not the type of problem that he needs to be having. So we'll see, if this helps out the Dallas Cowboys. It's mixed reviews from fans, not just Cowboys fans, but all fans, because it's one of those things. You know how fans are. Amari Cooper is the guy that you're talking trash about, and he got the drop season, this and that, but then when, he gets traded to your team, then all of a sudden Amari Cooper is rookie Amari Cooper again. He's that guy. This is going to make us better. So we'll see if it has any impact. As a fan of a team in the NFC East, I don't, there's no fear in my heart. Like, I fear more that the Eagles are going to keep playing like they've been playing than Amari Cooper's going to come in and rip us up.
Exactly. By the way, it is he's technically in a contract year. The Cowboys have no choice but to pick up the option now too, and they'll probably have to sign him to big money because that first round pick was worth it. So you got to sign him. You're gonna have to sign him or pick up the option. And personally, if I'm the GM, I pick up the option because I want to see at least a year and a half worth of production. But I'm not. But see, my team's in the AFC East, and Bill Belichick makes better decisions than giving first round picks for guys. So.
Well, keeping with the Raider theme, since we spent all that time on a former Raider, who's a former Raider now, Raiders players have been questioning Gruden and Derek Carr's ability to lead this team. Derek Carr went off the field on Sunday and appeared to be crying after he had taken a hit and gotten a little banged up. And afterwards, it seems like, at least from what we're hearing, it seems like his teammates didn't take too kindly to that, and they're questioning him as a man and a leader, and they're questioning their coach. Do you think you think these rumors that are coming out of the black hole, do you think they're legitimate, or do you think they have a legitimate concern about their quarterback and their coach?
Well, as far as Derek Carr is concerned, a little birdie let me know that he's out. He's not off the table as far as either being traded or cut in the next year or so.
Right.
So that'll be a very fun development to watch because before the broken leg, we thought, this guy's on the way to being a superstar, and then the broken leg happened, and it just seems like he hasn't been the same guy.
Then he turned into David.
Exactly. He turned into David Carr. It was like, you remember whose family you were in. And as far as John Gruden is concerned, just looking at how this team is being ripped apart, because for a couple of years ago we said this team is no longer the Al Davis Raiders, and this team's on there. They're ascending as a team, especially in the division. The Chiefs were kind of on that. They were in that middle ground of we can keep going, or we're going down a little. We're going to have to start moving on from guys. And Pat Mahomes came around, and then the Chargers. They're the Chargers. They're going to do what they do. And the Broncos had been coming off a Super Bowl and everything a couple years before. So now you have this team under John Gruden, and he's just ripping it apart. They've gotten rid of like half of their draft picks already. And there's no end in sight to this. They're in complete rebuild mode. And you paid a coach $100 million. So they're back to being the Al Davis Raiders. And quite honestly, I don't see anything that can stop this. To be honest, both of these guys are kind of tied they're kind of linked at the hip here, and unfortunately, I think they're losing the locker room because guys aren't. Marshawn Lynch is gone too. So,
right. Then what you just said, Fred, is the biggest point of everything that's being made. You bring a coach off of not even off of the side. You bring a coach out of the booth who's been gone from the game for a decade, and you still pay him 10 years, $100 million. What you're giving that man is power. You know what I'm saying? So it had to be a given at some point, especially since the Raiders weren't looking like the same team that was, starting to build up Super Bowl momentum before the broken leg. You had to know when you give somebody that much power and you give them presumably that much time, we don't know if he's going to make it that far, but giving someone a 10-year contract is at least giving them 5 years to prove themselves. I see this as a situation where, okay, all regimes want to have their own guys. So if they have to one day fall on their sword, they want to fall on their sword with their own guys. You give a man that much money and that much power, you best believe whatever he doesn't like about this team is going to get ripped up. It's going to turn into a rebuild because he wants to do things his way, have things in his likeness, you know what I'm saying, and he's going to be the face of it all. So this is not surprising to me at all. That's why, when everybody was complaining about the Khalil Mack trade, I'm like, okay, when you decide to do a rebuild, then you really have no choice but to trade your tradable commodities, which are usually the best people on your team. We talked about the Hall a few minutes ago. We don't know how the Hall is going to turn out because some of these teams are looking better than they probably thought they would when John Gruden was facilitating these trades. But I saw it coming. And like I said, they've given this man a ton of power and a ton of money. So they're going to have to sit back and grin and bear it now. And giving him that money and power, like you said, was a vintage Raider move. And they were supposed to be past vintage Raiderhood. So we'll see if – I'm hoping he hasn't lost the locker room this fast. I think if there's a problem, it would probably be more with Derek Carr than John Gruden. Even as pundits out here, we have to give John Gruden an opportunity. I'll be the first to tell you that I think he's a bit overrated, and I think you're really stepping on the gas of overratedness when you give him that much money and that much stability after not being on the sideline for a decade. But like I tell people, players with new players, we're still going to have to give him a chance. Let him build the team in his likeness, and if nothing comes of it then we just pounce like we do. All right, so some more people that are on the move. The Giants look like they're blowing it up. After all of these seasons of people in the media actually telling the Giants they need a rebuild, it seems like after this dreaded 1-5, 1-6 start that they're finally getting in line with what people have thought. It seems like there's a fire sale going on. Anybody, especially on the defensive side of the ball, anybody that you can come make a good deal for, I think they're available. They traded Eli Apple to the Saints. They traded Snacks Harrison to the Detroit Lions for, I think they got a fifth for Snacks Harrison. What did they get for Eli Apple?
They gave up a fourth. They got a fourth from the Saints for a first-round pick we thought was actually going to be pretty good. And I don't know about
number 10
him.
Yeah, and he wasn't playing terribly this season, but he's had his struggles in the past. So I guess they were like, look, let's get him out of here while he's still young and while he has some kind of trade value. It's time to blow it up. And it seems like everybody's available, maybe with the exception of, their star wide receiver and their star running back. But I think everybody's pretty much on the table from this Giants team.
The thing is, though, we've been and for me, when I think of building a team, and I'll say this and I'll keep pounding the table on this for years in and year out, it's like, what are you doing to make this team better? if you have to have like 2 or 3 things to start. Quarterback. Eli hasn't been good in I don't know how long. Eli hasn't been good. He was never elite, but he was never above average good. He hasn't been that good since the Super Bowl in 2012. So he hasn't been that good since. They haven't made the playoffs in who knows how long. It's been, 4 years now since that whole banana boat thing, the whole boat thing. So
Damn, it's been 4 already.
Yeah, I think it's been about 3 or 4 years since that's happened. So you've had because Odell was like a rookie or a sophomore or a second-year player when that happened, and then you don't have a left tackle problem. Star defensive lineman, don't see him. Star guy on the back end, Janoris Jenkins is good. I don't see him in the top 5 corner. Not good. Landon Collins is really good, but I mean, he's an in-the-box safety, head coach and play caller. Pat Shermer, okay. Still not. We don't know what to think of him yet. Play caller, not sure what to think of that yet. But we have the second coming of Reggie Bush in the backfield with no offensive line, and he'll get a ton of carries. And by year 5, he'll be running to the ground. And what will you have to show for a second overall pick? I mean, do you see where all of these things, the foundation pieces, these foundation pieces aren't there, and it's really amazing video. It sounds great for a video game, but when it comes to building a real team, is just nothing here outside of Odell Beckham Jr. You don't really have anything, a building block here, and maybe Evan Ingram. I really like Evan Ingram. You don't have any building block.
All right, so we'll see how the Giants rebuild goes. I need the Giants to win this Sunday, so they need to step it up, have some pride, have some damn pride. All right, so shout out to EMCC. Chad Kelly was arrested early Tuesday on first-degree criminal trespassing after a couple reported that he came into their house uninvited. It's crazy. The woman told the police that a stranger came into their Englewood, Colorado home. It was after 1 a.m. The intruder sat down on the couch next to the woman who was holding the couple's young child and was mumbling incoherently. The man yelled at the intruder to get out of his house, and he hit him in his back with a vacuum cleaner tube. That's the best thing you can find, dude, to protect your family, a vacuum cleaner tube. Then the police surveillance video showed a man wearing dark pants, a white long-sleeve shirt, and a brown vest, and a red scarf around his neck entering the front door. I believe they found Kelly later sitting inside of a black SUV parked about a block from the home that he bust into. And Kelly matched the couple's description. So, 1, I don't know what kind of drugs Chad Kelly is on right now. 2, the Broncos have waived him. He was a 7th-round pick for the Broncos. John Elway basically said, "No, we can't put up with anything like this. Be on your merry way. Good luck with that." Fred, what the hell is wrong with Chad Kelly, man? This doesn't just sound normal. This sounds like some drug stuff.
Yeah.
He had to be under some influence.
They used to have something down here called Flocka. No real experience with it, but he was on that good. It was something real good because it really didn't make him do anything really smart. So I actually had a lot of hope for him. I actually thought maybe Case Keenum wasn't the guy, and maybe he was the bridge to Chad Kelly, and he had talent. He was a really good quarterback at Ole Miss. But when you look at things, how it worked out for him, it was a 7th-round pick for a reason. He ended up leaving Clemson, went on to EMCC, had a really good career there, came out of those ranks, went to Ole Miss, took over, just put the beat down on Alabama, but quite honestly, much more than that, he hasn't done anything. You're a 7th-round pick. You're on the fringe as we're speaking. I mean, they're willing to let go. They're willing to let go guys like Paxton Lynch and Trevor Siemian. What do you think they're going to do to you? So when I look at Chad Kelly, that may have been his last opportunity in the league, and he blew it. He legit blew it, and I hope the kid gets some help.
Right. Yeah, because this definitely didn't sound normal. So whatever caused this type of behavior, which is horrifying to a family like that, like, come on, man, Chad. Please.
I'm more mad at the man of the house that all he had was a vacuum cleaner to protect his family. I think I would have been him. He needs to.
I would have respected him more, Fred, if the story just said the dude punched him. But a vacuum cleaner tube, not even like hit him with the vacuum cleaner, like break his back.
Exactly.
But you hit him with the tube. What the hell is the tube going to do? Like,
I mean,
you can't do damage beating your kid with a vacuum cleaner tube.
He had to be an older man. They had to be an older couple. That's the only way I could. But their nurse, they had a small child, so it couldn't have been an older couple.
Right.
So this is. Yeah, I'm trying to help him out here. I'm trying to help him. Get your man, bro. Just get your man.
Man, grab the tube off the vacuum cleaner. No, the hell is that going to do? All right, so we'll keep an eye on this Chad Kelly situation, man. Maybe some more details will come out. But right now, you sound crazy, dog. You sound real crazy. All right, so let's go deep for a few minutes on a subject that a lot of people have been talking about prior to the Carolina Panthers game versus the Philadelphia Eagles this past Sunday. Eric Reid, who is newly minted back in the league, was standing on the field while the coin toss was going on with the captains, even though he was not a captain on either of the teams. After that, he was approached by Malcolm Jenkins. Some words were exchanged, and they kind of had to be separated. Mainly, Eric Reid had to be separated. We all know his kind of beef with Malcolm Jenkins, Anquan Boldin, and other leaders and members of the quote-unquote Players Coalition because of the meeting they took with the NFL and the deal that they made to get some quote-unquote black causes funded over the next 8 or 9 years with the NFL. Eric Reid who was once a part of this coalition, didn't like the direction they were going in. So by the time they made this meeting and this deal, he was no longer a part of it. And he thinks that Malcolm Jenkins, Anquan Boldin, and the Players Coalition kind of co-opted Colin Kaepernick's his movement, since he was the catalyst for everything that went down last year in this situation. So what are your thoughts on this situation? Like, first of all, was that a good look out there for Eric Reid, handling this the way that he chose to handle it? Because it actually went into the game. He had some rage within the game as well that damn near got him penalized a couple times. Like, what are your thoughts on this whole Eric Reid, Malcolm Butler drama?
Well, first off, for me, when I look at it, I say to myself, you as a fringe player, you just got back in the league. If you have issues with Malcolm Jenkins, handle it in the back alley where nobody can see it, where no cameras, no nothing. We can go bump in the alley and call it a day. That's what you do. But y'all handle it like men. Because if we handle it on the field, that messes up you and what you have going. There was no need for it. I mean, we all know what's going on with the NFL. They use that in the players, this coalition. We know that was a farce. We know that was their way of making everything go away. And Malcolm Jenkins, who we thought was going to be the guy to help spearhead this, helping Colin Kaepernick with all of his efforts for protesting against police brutality and things like that. That was it was going to keep going, and they were going to force the NFL's hand. And the players gave in like they've given into a lot of other things because they have one of the weakest unions and just everything all rolled into one. They're one of the weakest groups of players amongst all the professional sports. But at the end of the day, you can't change what's already happened. And why are you waiting until now to say something? You've been out of the league for what, a year and a half?
Right.
2 years.
And
now?
even with
You're
the Ali stuff, I'm like, why? First of all, why do we always have this? You know, you have people. Black revolutionaries always want to beef. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't agree with how the other one is doing something, even though everybody's intentions are the same. I don't really understand it. You know, and I've kind of been on the other side of this whole thing the whole time. Because like what you just said, you know, if everybody kept doing this and doing it, it would force the NFL's hand. I don't necessarily agree with it because it was never really the NFL's fight. The NFL is just trying to get the fight off of their lawn. You know what I'm saying? This is akin to, you know, you looking outside and there's two kids just rumbling on your lawn, and your whole thing is to, okay, push this fight down the street somewhere because we aren't out in the streets, you know, killing black men and stuff like that. So what Malcolm Jenkins did, whether, you know, it was a part of Eric Reid and Colin Kaepernick's plan or not, like, first of all, Malcolm Jenkins did not just start fighting for, you know, civil causes when Colin Kaepernick kneeled on the sideline. He didn't just do that. Now, I fully agree that Colin Kaepernick's actions was the catalyst for them getting to the table and getting anything done in the first place. But I still applaud Malcolm Jenkins and Anquan Boldin for going in, sitting down and getting something done, getting money off of an organization who's not even culpable for the crimes that everybody's supposed to be fighting for, to be able to give to black causes and black charities. That's all fine. But if you guys do have a beef with the way that they handled it and all that kind of stuff, you guys were once together on this. So y'all got each other's number. Like, we don't have to play tough guy, and we don't always have to look combative to each other in front of the whole world. Like, I just think it was a bad look. Like, y'all can't handle this like gentlemen. Like really?
Agreed.
But it always seemed that way, man. It seemed like black revolutionaries always got to fight. Malcolm and Martin didn't get along. Hey, in today's day and age, you got Tariq Nasheed and Dr. Umar. They on social media beefing, like looking like childish little kids when so many people respected them beforehand because of the things that they stood for and the things they said. But now they're on social media beefing, just like, you know, like an episode of Internet Loving Hip Hop or something. So it's like, I don't understand, like, people that's fighting for basically the same things, you know, they always have to get into this public type of spat. And, you know, every fan, a lot of people are just going down the path, calling Malcolm Jenkins a sellout and this and that. But I always ask people, what's the point of a protest? I thought the point of a protest was to get something done. So
yeah, you're supposed to get something.
We don't want them to get $89 million earmarked for good causes. We just want to kneel and put fists up for the rest of eternity just to say we didn't sell out or we didn't do this. Like, at some point, like Martin Luther King and you know, the people from the civil rights movement, they boycotted the bus company for a reason. So they can be able to sit where they want on the bus. They can be able to do what they get the same respect. They didn't do it just to do it, just to say, how long can we do this? Let's keep our hands in the air. Let's keep walking. Let's. There was a reason. There's always an end game behind a protest. So the reason that people are so bent out of shape for somebody actually getting something done is far beyond me. But Malcolm Jenkins is feeling the heat, though, Fred, because I don't know if you saw his comments from earlier. He was saying, looking at the Jags film,
I did see that.
Makes him know that there's still a place for Colin Kaepernick in the league. So he kissing ass a little bit. Maybe he's scared that Colin and Eric Reid will see him in an alley one day, and he don't want to be alone back there. So he look like he's trying to. Or
he might just be worried that defense, that Eagles defense, who has one of the worst secondaries I've seen in the last, and really how that secondary has changed in less than a 365-day calendar year, how they went from really good to uh-oh.
But look at this. He's putting them in a very bad predicament, though, because by saying that, you're insulting Blake Bortles and Cody Kessler. So now you're putting the pressure on them not to go out there and get bashed by these two, mediocre quarterbacks. Because it's happened. We've been bashed by mediocre quarterbacks. So I would think we'd be in a position to shut up right now. But I think he's so hell-bent on getting back in good graces with Colin Kaepernick that, he's just saying something and not realizing, what kind of implications it could have on the other side of things. So that situation is crazy. Like I said, whether you're with or against how it went down and what Malcolm Jenkins and Anquan Boldin and those guys ended up doing, if you think they co-opted the movement, whatever you think about the situation, I just don't think beefing in the middle of a football field prior to a big game is the way to handle it. Because that's just hanging our dirty laundry out and just being a show for the rest of the world.
For me, when I look at fans and they are what they are, fans, I'd say to any fan, if you want to criticize any players, I hope you're doing something, or at least something. I know you can't do what NFL players or any celebrities with money can do, but you better be doing something. Otherwise, enjoy the game, have a beer, shut up.
Shut up.
Shut up and drink beer. Shut up and drink beer. We can literally say that. Shut up and drink beer.
Shut up and dribble. Shut up and drink beer. All right. So it's pick six time. We're gonna do a quick pick six and we're gonna get out of here. You know me, I got some basketball to watch tonight. So let's start it off with Miami going to visit the Houston Texans. Both of these teams coming into this game at 4-3. This is the Thursday nighter. I think their records are more intriguing than the actual game. But what are your thoughts on this one you got?
This Houston Texans team, I thought they'd be a lot better defensively, but, they completely just destroyed the Jacksonville Jaguars. It seems like everybody's destroying them these days.
Which means we'll lose this week.
Yeah, exactly. For me, when I see this team, I don't see the impact that J.J. Watt was supposed to make coming back from injury. But they're on a 4-game streak after losing the first 3, so I don't know I don't want to call this team what I can call this team is inconsistently consistent. That's what I can call this team, because they lost 3 straight to the Patriots, Titans, and Giants, and you shouldn't lose to. You have the distinction of being the only team that lost to the Giants so far. But then you turn around and you win the games you're at least supposed to win. Colts, Cowboys, Bills, Jags. But I think the Dolphins can the Dolphins do it again with Osweiler? Because there is no Tannehill to bail you out this time. Osweiler is going to be the guy for a bit, and I don't trust Osweiler at all. The former Texans quarterback. This is going to be a nice little deja vu. But who knows him better than anyone? Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien. So for me, I want to see what Bill O'Brien does to kind of mess with Osweiler's head. Offensively, the Dolphins they're going to do what they do. They're going to run the football. You're going to see Devontae Parker and his agent. Devontae Parker might get a few more touches after his agent had a little bit to say about his injuries and how Adam Gase is keeping him off the field for contract reasons. I don't think the Dolphins are in position to worry about that right now. I think there may be a legit injury there, but I want to see Deshaun Watson be the old Deshaun Watson. I want to see him getting the ball down the field, getting it to Luke Hopkins. I want to see Lamar Miller be slash again, just slicing through these defenses. This is going to be a low-scoring game. I'm going to take the Texans only because they're at home.
I'm gonna take the Texans in this one as well for a lot of the reasons you said. The main reason is no trust of Brock Osweiler, even though he came in last week, played a pretty good game. But we see that a lot in the NFL. You know, a quarterback steps in and has immediate success. I mean, unless your name is Peterman. You step in, you have some immediate success. The team gets the game plan for you, and then you come back and you're not the same quarterback at all. I think they will pressure Osweiler from the edges, and he will panic. So I got the Texans in this one as well. Now we got the London game. We got Philly versus the Jags in London. When this game was scheduled, I don't think they thought they were going to have a matchup of two teams that were, just in their conference's respective championship games. I definitely don't think they thought they were going to have a Super Bowl champion over there, because the Jags, London is basically like a second home for the Jags. And the fact, I don't know, they haven't made a quarterback decision yet, but when you think about it, London is where Blake Bortles usually shines. So if I were them, I'd give Blake one more chance. But this is the perfect situation for the Eagles, and I'm going to tell you why it's perfect, and it's also, beyond being perfect, it's the last benefit of the doubt week that I'm going to give them. It's the last Super Bowl champion benefit of the doubt week I'm going to give them on my pick, because I am going to pick the Eagles here in this spot. But the reason it's the last one is because, okay, you look at last week against Carolina. They played a very good game throughout all units for 3 quarters, but they just did not score a lot. They moved the ball a lot, but they didn't score a lot. It was a very windy day. They couldn't do a lot of field goal kicking, so some drives stalled in the name of field position over missing a kick and giving up bad field position. The reason this is a perfect situation is because you cannot get, especially as a defending Super Bowl champion who's now 3-4, you cannot get to a lower spot than you did then, because you look good. It looks like you were going to start turning things around. The division is still there for the taking, and you lay a fourth quarter egg and you let another one slip away. You get to go over here, play another team who was successful like you were last year, but they're in a bad spot as well. Everybody's kicking them around, which tells me through prior, Philadelphia Eagle experience that the Jaguars would easily come out and win this game. But the reason I'm saying this perfect because it's the perfect opportunity to show that you still have some Super Bowl champion moxie and fight in you. Because even though this team is 3-4 just like you are, this team has just got destroyed. This is still, by all accounts, a good team until the end of the season proves it different. This could be a flash-in-the-pan team, and that could have been their quick window that they didn't capitalize on in Foxborough. But as of now, this is a team that's just like you, a pretty good team that's down on their luck right now. Somebody has to come out of it. I'm going to pick the Eagles in this. Who you got?
I'm taking the Eagles in this one. It's neutral site.
Right.
I don't care. Honestly, I don't care if it was in Jacksonville. I'm still taking the Eagles to win this one. When it comes down to it, Jaguars just can't move the ball on a consistent basis, and the defense looks like a shell of itself. Jalen Ramsey got roasted, completely roasted by DeAndre Hopkins, and there's a certain Alshon Jeffrey that is coming into town. So the Eagles have enough weapons. They have the defense to win it. That secondary that has been getting just torched lately, they don't have to worry at this point because who's going to get the ball to any of these receivers?
So you and Malcolm Jenkins are going to get us in a world of trouble. I tell you that. Because y'all are giving Blake Bortles and Cody Kessler a whole lot of bulletin board material. He's going to come out and have a Blake Bortles London-type game on us, and I'm going to come back for you and Malcolm Jenkins disrespecting me.
I really, it's not the receivers that I don't respect. I don't respect the quarterback who is throwing the ball to these receivers. I don't respect the offensive line. I don't respect the running game, only because Leonard Fournette hasn't really had a chance to showcase how good he can be. We don't know on a much less a day-to-day basis, a week-to-week basis, if he'll be healthy. And even if he is healthy, how long will that hamstring hold up? And for me,
I mean, it's looking bleak for him. Like, maybe they're not giving us the full picture because, you know, they out here picking up running backs. They out here, you know, it's a lot going on here. T.J. Yeldon has been playing pretty well in this stead. Then they pick up Jamal Charles. Then they make another move after that. Like, there's a lot going on with the backfield. So I don't know what's going on with Leonard Fournette. But let's get through these. We don't have too much time left. Baltimore at Carolina. I think Baltimore will go into Carolina and take care of business. Carolina had their lucky rabbit's foot in their thigh pads last week when they scored 17 points in the fourth quarter to come back and beat the Philadelphia Eagles. I think Baltimore's defense is a whole different animal, and I think they're going to go in there and shut things down. And when they do, I don't think they're going to let them back into the game late. So I'm going to go Baltimore with this one.
I'll say it like this. Baltimore is not Philly. That is with all disrespect. Baltimore's defense is not Philly's defense. They will not allow Cam Newton to just have a last-minute drive. This team has been a lot better than I thought they would be. I took a flyer on them to win the division, so I'm kind of locked into picking them to win pretty much every game this year. But they've been pretty solid. They've been pretty solid so far. So when you see this team lose, when they lose games, they're losing to teams that can, one, throw the football pretty decently, whether it's the Bengals or the Saints. I'm looking at you, Cleveland. You don't throw the ball well. But even then, the defense is playing well. Carolina doesn't throw the ball well. They haven't really run the ball well. Defensively is what's been helping them. This is going to be a really low-scoring, hard-hitting, old-school type of game. I expect Christian McCaffrey to get hit at least 2 times, where we just wonder, is he getting up?
Flush.
Give me Baltimore.
Christian McCaffrey needs to learn how to spin off some hits and fall to the ground without getting bashed. But Tampa Bay at Cincinnati. Cincinnati took a loss that we all probably expected them to take. The one where they actually blew it and took away a little bit of their momentum was the Steeler game the week before. What happened versus the Chiefs was pretty much expected for me. I expect Cincinnati to fully bounce back from that one and handle Tampa at home. What are your thoughts? Who you got?
I think this game's going to be a lot closer than you think. Both defenses are kind of a muddled mess, but Jameis has played okay, not great. Andy Dalton, same thing. Andy Dalton has 15 touchdowns already. He has 8 picks. I want to see him cut down on the turnovers. Jameis, in almost half the games, has thrown 6 interceptions. He really needs to cut down on these interceptions. I know he's a risk taker, but you got to rely on your run game. I expect Cincinnati to try to take away the run, take away Mike Evans. I think you can beat this Bucs team. Give me the Bengals at home.
Okay. Then you got the Packers at Rams. Can Aaron Rodgers and the Pack go in, Fred, and be the first team to take down this juggernaut that we got growing out here in LA?
One Mike Singletary, and I'll just make this one easy and quick. One Mike Singletary once said, cannot play with them, cannot coach with them, can't do it. That's how I feel about the Packers. Give me the Rams.
I'm in the same boat as you, and you know that's how you know when you respect a team, when we don't have much to say, when Aaron Rodgers is coming in on the other side, and we're not really giving him much of a chance, then you pretty much know, it's pretty much a done deal. All right, so let's go to last but not least. This should be a good one. Rematch of the divisional round in the NFC. The New Orleans Saints visiting the Minnesota Vikings. This should be a good one. The Saints come into this one holding a record of 5-1. Minnesota 4-2-1. What are your thoughts on this one, Fred?
This is going to be the classic, very good offense versus very good defense. Drew Brees, I feel like he's going to be that quarterback. He's going to be that player this year that sets a record like every week. But this is a different type of defense he's going up against. In the beginning of the year, I thought, man, this Vikings team might not be as good as we thought they would be, and then they hit their stride. If Dalvin Cook even comes back and gives you 50% of what we think he is, watch out. This Vikings team is really good, and with all that being said, I'm taking the Saints to win this game on the road. Go Saints. It's indoors.
Kirk Cousins and Adam Thielen have really developed a quick chemistry. Adam Thielen leading the league in yardage. I believe he's leading the league in receptions as well. This is a guy that nobody believed in prior to last season. And they're making this offense go because he seems to be a little bit unstoppable out on the edge right now. The defense of the Vikings is playing better than they started the season. They came into the season with a reputation, and everybody talking about how if you add Kirk Cousins to the mix with this team, with this defense, the Vikings could really do something special. In the beginning of the season, I don't think they were showing that. I do believe now that they're starting to hit their stride. I also acknowledge what Drew Brees brings with his offense on the other side. The difference in that being is the Saints defense haven't hit the stride that they hit last season. They're kind of back to being the one unit show, with Drew Brees in that offense. Give me the Vikings at home. I'm going to take the Vikings on this one. I think it'll be a good game that will come down to the wire. And when I say the wire, I'm not talking about a desperation throw and a missed tackle and a run down the sideline type of wire. But this should be a good one, and this should be a close one. So that's your pick 6, everybody, for this week. And that is your show. Man, Fred won't be around this Sunday, so don't bother him. Fred, where you going to be, man? Tell everybody where you gonna be. I'm gonna be
on a beach somewhere down here in Florida. I might peek in. Who knows? I might peek in a little bit on that. Actually, Patriots don't play till Monday, so that works out perfectly. I might peek in on the Vikings.
Don't be tweeting Fred. Don't be getting him in trouble.
Otherwise,
on his honeymoon, man. Because he's a football head. So if he peeps at his phone, it's going to be impossible for him to peep at it and not actually, start reading and start tweeting back. So leave him alone. Let him have his time because I already gave him that advice. Happy wife, happy life. Give her weekend. And we will reconvene back here and talk some more NFL next weekend. You guys can hit me during the games. I'll be on the couch. You can hit me on Twitter at DevMacWR Sports or on the Facebook. On the War Room Sports Facebook page or the War Room Sports Game Time group on the GroupMe app. So just get at me anytime during this NFL weekend. And like I said, Fred and I will see you guys back here next week. So this has been another episode of Cover 2 with McMillan and Purdue. I'm McMillan. He's Purdue. Don't accept mediocrity. Be steadfast in the war against ignorance. And we'll see you chumps on top. Peace.
Going up to LaFell. Touchdown. The big screen. Center. Over the middle. Touchdown. Play action. Caught the wide open Sanzenbacher.
War Room Sports, www.warroomsports.com. What? Ain't no more to it.
Want entertainment designed just for you? Then check out customizable streaming TV from Xfinity. It makes your life simple, easy, awesome.
Xfinity gives you customizable streaming TV options. Enjoy the most free shows anywhere on any device, and even access your streaming apps right on your TV with X1. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today to learn more. Restrictions apply.
Want entertainment designed just for you? Then check out customizable streaming TV from Xfinity. It makes your life simple, easy, awesome.
Xfinity gives you customizable streaming TV options. Enjoy the most free shows anywhere on any device, and even access your streaming apps right on your TV with X1. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today to learn more. Restrictions apply.